At the time of recording this, last week it was the summer solstice. It was nearly the midpoint through the year, and it was the point where it was the longest day of the year, shortest night of the year, a time where for some of us were reflecting on what it was like in the winter, what it was like for New Year, as opposed to kind of midsummer, mid-year. So today I thought I would shoot this Monday motivation for motivation when you mean it. And with that, I know that I have personally been reflecting on what this year means to me and for me, and also looking at the goals that I started this year with, 2021, with a slight reflection on some of the stuff from last year. Hello, Faye, thank you for joining. And thank you for watching live. So I thought that it would be a good time of year to share some of the things that help me to keep motivated or to stay motivated even when life happens, because let's face it, for all of us, life happens, it happens. And in the background you can see today there are just a handful of my birthday cards. I know that Faye also has a birthday very close to mine, as well, so saying a belated happy birthday to Faye as well. Now, okay, so here's really kind of like what I want to convey, I guess, from this week's Monday motivation. So the first thing is, sometimes we can get through certain points of the day, never mind the year, certain points of the week, never mind the month, where we feel deflated for some reason and we feel like we need to get up and go. Maybe your get up and go has kind of got up and gone. So I thought today would be really great to share some things to keep you back on track, or to get you back on track. And by the way, if you or someone else that you know needs to hear this, why not share this? You can share it in any groups where you're allowed to share it. But most importantly, the people I hear from most say they got so much value. It popped up on your timeline, and one of your friends, families, work colleagues got to see it, got to watch it, and got to make a tweak to their week or a change to their day. So remembering that these Monday motivations, whilst they started kind of way back in 2008 and took a different format as they then came to life on Facebook Live, and for some of you who watch these back on my YouTube channel, you see them on there as well. But although they started in 2008, they were really specifically designed to motivate not just your Monday, but sometimes your morning or your week. So a lot of you tell me that you watch these back in the week just to kind of get a little top up and get remotivated. So with a sip of my mint tea, I shall continue. So the first thing to think about is, in order to self-motivate, what motivated you in the first place? Oh, I've just seen your message, Faith. Thank you so much. You know, what motivated you in the first place, i.e. what were you motivated to do? Now, in order to do this, if you are feeling like a little bit kind of despondent, or a bit like, oh, I'm going to be pushing water uphill, this, whilst not meaning to state the obvious, is one of the hardest ways to motivate yourself. So your first job is to reconnect back in with your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions, your plans, your goals, your objectives, whatever you like to call them, intentions, desires, any of those, is to hook back into those. Now, for some of you, this might not have been in January at the beginning of the year. It might have been the reason why you started your business. It might have been the reason why you do the work that you do. And for many people that I work with, what I notice is they start off saying that they want to do one thing and they evolve into the thing that they really, really want to do. So think about what had you either start doing the thing that you do, either start the business that you do, accept the job offer that you were given, or working in the industry that you work in. Every single one of us has a path or a plan, even if we feel like we got there by accident. And if we feel like we got there by accident, usually, let's say you started off as an accountant, and you really liked being an accountant, but now you're doing something quite different. It could be that you are still an accountant, but you coach other people in accountancy, or that you decided to, like I say, do something different. There will be lots of thought processes. There might be lots of things that seem to happen, serendipity, which helped you to change into the thing that you're doing now that you love so much more. So think about those moments. Think about the thing that had you go, yes. And think about those moments that had you say, this is what I really want to do. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing is, once you have found that moment or those moments, this is where I really suggest to write it down. Write it down. I'm not necessarily a massive journaler, but for some of you, and a lot of you tell me the reason, for example, why you're not more visible is that you're introvert. So if you're introvert, it doesn't mean that you can't be more visible. It means that you need a lot of you time, a lot of self time, just to reflect and recharge your batteries. You get peopled out. So if that's you, then writing this down, journaling this out, literally writing down your thoughts by yourself is actually the most perfect way for you to do this. If you're not so much of a journaler, you can still write these things down in maybe bullet point form. I'm a sporadic journaler. Sometimes I'll journal and other times, it's just easy for me to make a note and go back to it. So whichever way you are on this, just go through and then just start to think about, those points and make a note of them. Now, people say, oh, how long do I do that for? How many pages do I write? There is no right or wrong, good or bad. The thing you'll notice is how you feel about this thing. And all of a sudden, you will either find yourself energized and refocused or wanting to do something about it. And that's really what you're looking for. The way to, when you feel the motivation. And, if you've been going through a really tough time, it might just feel like a little spark, but that's okay. There's no kind of competition here on how big or small that spark needs to feel. So then some of the other things that you'll want to do is take the steps to make that happen. And this is where I would say 99.9% of people come to me. So if this sounds like you, this might be the reason to work with a coach. Now, if your issue is specifically on being visible or visibility, then you will definitely want to consider working with me, because I've specialised in this for 11 years it's coming up to. So some of the ways that that you might need help on this is you're motivated, you're excited, you love what you do, but sometimes when you go to put yourself out there, you get lost for words. Maybe you do it, but you ramble or you're not quite sure. This usually shows me that in terms of your message, there's a magical way to be in your message that doesn't sound fluffy and light, but the people who get you, who get what you do, who need what you do, will then want to work with you. And this tends to be more magnetic than you kind of cold calling people or sending, 100 emails out and hoping that one or two people respond. That's not what I teach in terms of visibility, by the way. I teach you to speak out in a way that feels authentic and confident to you so that people know what you do. But if you find that your motivation is dipped because you're finding to find clients who push your water uphill, then that's a sign that you need visibility coaching or visibility mentoring. So other things that have people kind of drop their dream, if you like. So that could be one thing. It feels really difficult. I was speaking to someone just quite recently who has got the beginnings of a thriving business. They have lots of different tools and techniques and modalities that they can help their clients with. And they're doing that whole kind of straddling between work and starting a business. And it's often I ask people, but what do you really want? And I say it in that way because I almost whisper it. Jenny, I do this thing and this thing and this thing. I work for this company or do this thing. But what I'd really like to do is, and what they'd really like to do, they have done it a couple of times. They've, sold it, one of their kind of packages a few times. So it shows me that there is an appetite for it. But then they get stuck. how do they promote it again? Like, how do they do it again and stop it from being a lucky accident? And it's times like that where you will need to be able to self-motivate to continue, because sometimes it will feel hard. And sometimes you'll need guidance. Sometimes you can just get your head down, do it by yourself. And sometimes you'll need a community to lean into. Sometimes you'll be able just to get going and keep going. And other times you'll feel like, why am I doing this? Should I go and get a different job? You know, should I just forget about this? Is this a pipe dream? And many other things. So it's important to notice a couple of things when it comes to motivation when you really need it. A, what was the thing that sparked that in the first place? And B, being able to recognise when you're off track. When you're off track, the feeling that you get doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing. It's not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's just your like sat-nav, your inner sat-nav, letting you know there's something to pay attention to. That really is it. And the thing you might be paying attention to is, oh, I've been trying to do this for a year and I haven't really been able to live off it, and I want to give up my job and do this thing as a business. Or the thing you might need to be paying attention to is, you know, I said that I would give myself X amount of time to do such and such, and it seems to be like harder, maybe it's not working. So go and get the help that you need. Don't try and go it alone. And I never condone burying your head in the sand either way. You know, even if you're like, well, it's okay, I guess it will be okay. That never feels like this is why I started it. And for the record, the reason why I started doing this was because, like, even way back before I seemingly had it all kind of figured out, was I just remember being an employee, seeing so many talented people with so many great things to say, look for training, and sometimes what they actually needed was coaching, but look for training or help or guidance, and then be told all the things that were wrong with them. So presentation courses where, you know, these people were super ambitious and driven, yet they would be told, oh, you've said too many times, you use your hands too much when you speak, and other things like that. And I would watch as they very quickly descended into lacking the confidence that they had within them. And I remember thinking to myself, one day I'm going to start a business, and when I start that business, I'm going to put an end to that. I'm going to stop that, because at the same time where somebody might say a lot through a presentation, they actually say a lot of really great stuff, really inspiring stuff that motivates people into action. And why is nobody telling them about that? Why is everyone focusing on something seemingly small, which actually doesn't matter and gets in the way? And that was the spark for me that started this. And I had an evolution. I thought, well, I can help anybody, teach anybody anything. And found very quickly that when I tried that method, it didn't really work. So the question, the kind of like the tough talk question is, and how's that working for you? Well, it wasn't for me, so I had to do something to change it. And at times, it could be as simple as taking some time off, recharging my batteries and getting back on it. And other times, it would be working in groups, like going into programs, maybe online learning, and many times throughout my journey, and still to this day, hiring the services of a coach or mentor. In fact, 11 years in, I will now look at very specific things I need and hire a specific coach or mentor, so I could be working with a number of people at the same time. That enables me to keep thriving and growing, and I share that with you because I want the same for you. You know, often when I'm interviewed, people ask me kind of what's the secret to your success kind of a question, and the truth is, I don't think there is one particular secret. I think there are lots of different things that we can do, but we need the ability to find our own path and our own way. And that's what I open up as a visibility specialist, as a visibility mentor, as a visibility coach, because not the same one thing will suit everybody. That's what I love exploring. That's also why I love Mondays, because Mondays is my client coaching day, and I get to back coach, mentor, speak to clients and help them push through blocks, overcome those little challenges, and also celebrate them for some of the fantastic things that they're doing in the world. I want that for you. So if you are even a bit curious about, well, what would that be like, then definitely send me a message here and book a call with me. It's a free call, and I won't be selling anything to you. I'll be asking you where you're at, what you need, and where you're stuck. And at the end of that, I can recommend the next course for action. I love doing that because I want to see you shine, and I want to see you get yourself out there, whether you're one-man band business, whether you're a family-run business, whether you have family at home or you're caring for somebody else, whether you are, philanthropic, whether you've got a strong message to share. As long as what you're doing is doing good in the world and spreading a ripple effect, then it's likely that I'll be able to help you get that message out there and make your message magical. So if you're like seeing this for the first time and you're new to me, I will pop a link underneath where you can sign up to get my free one-pager. You actually get 2 one-pager Get Out There guides. One page, you can go through, have a look, see if you are hitting those marks, and if not, you can go out there and start to get out there, and that's for free. So thank you so much for joining me. Shouting you out, Faye, because you were the person that spoke in the box. The numbers have been going up and down, but a bit wonky. So even though you were typing, it was showing that nobody was watching. So if you have been chatting away and I haven't seen your comment yet, fear not, I will go back and I will respond to the comment. But let me know below, like, what's the first thing that you think you'll do for today in your week? It could be you'll journal this exercise. It could be you'll speak to somebody about the thing that you're doing. It could be that you'll share this video and mull over it and journal on it. Either way, I'd love to know whether you're watching this live or on the replay. Thank you so much for the lovely comments and the messages. Following my birthday weekend, I've got a gazillion messages, text messages, I've got loads of Facebook messages, LinkedIn messages, Instagram messages to catch up with. So thank you for every one of you that sent me birthday wishes. I so appreciate you and adore you. Thank you so much, and see you on next week's Monday Motivation. Bye for now. Oh, thank you for sharing the video, Faye.